Just a quick reminder that you can now switch any portable mobile equipment back into normal operations mode and use them on board. On behalf of all the crew, I'd like to wish you all a very good onward journey, and thank you once again for choosing our British Airways this evening.
We are in Berlin. Aha. I think the idea of going to a new country can feel daunting to a lot of people. New language, new culture, and you'd expect to adjust to a lot of changes. Berlin feels more like New York City. The buildings were very modern. There was graffiti on every surface, and if you're struggling a little bit with the German language, that's okay because
You speak English? How much does it cost? $3.75. $3.75.
almost everybody speaks English.
Okay. You made that much easier.
Well, I do that every day.
My host mom spoke German, English, and French. The cashier at the juice bar spoke German, English, Spanish, and Portuguese. The janitor at my internship spoke German, English, and Turkish. I went to my internship determined to speak German to the students, and I stuttered, and finally the teacher said, just speak English. Come to find out, all of the students there had been studying English for 6 to 8 years already, and their English was way better than my German. So it's Tuesday, and my Arbeitsgeberin says to be in basement room 9 for art class. My internship was in the art department of the Schadowschule Gymnasium. I chaperoned a field trip to a Fotoausstellung. I got to see the theater students practicing lines of one of my favorite books. I was impressed. They did a great job. I was invited to do some drawing demonstrations. Their request was draw a giraffe. Art is everywhere in Berlin, from ancient art to modern art to street art. There were murals on almost every block, bronze statues in every public park. I even thought the graffiti was charming. This is an alley right outside the Otto White Museum. We loved this place so much we went back twice. The Otto White Museum was our first cultural excursion, basically a field trip, to the workshop of a blind man who rescued Jews during World War II. We ended the tour with these memorial statues. Then we saw more memorial statues at Sachsenhausen. It was really very educational, historical, a little bit depressing, but it was not the most depressing place that we went. One of our excursions was to a place called the Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe. This was probably the most unsettling place I've ever been in my life. The maze was full of obstacles, meaning it was really hard to leave.
Oh my god, that's so sad, bro!
Afterwards, I asked my host mom why there were so many depressing memorials and museums, and she said, oh, those are just for tourists. German people don't go to those. And then she took me to see these. I got really excited about the street performers in Berlin. We'd find them playing in the U-Bahn station, outside the grocery store, on bridges by the museum, at Alexanderplatz, at Zehlendorf, at Rathaus Steglitz. One time I took the wrong train on purpose because I saw two guys with a guitar and a cello getting on board and I wanted to watch them play.
Don't you rock my boat. Don't you rock my boat. 'Cause I don't want my boat to be rocking. Don't you rock my boat.
You've got this long commute, but you can usually count on someone to come and play music on the way. And just like the murals and the graffiti, I feel like the street performers are a big part of the personality of Berlin.
Do it like nobody's watching. Show me your dance.
So to get a good feel for the culture of Berlin, you really need to walk around the city. We saw so many interesting things on foot that we'd have never seen by car. The bear is the mascot of Berlin. You can find these bear statues every few blocks in front of stores and hotels, but also in front of schools and government buildings. But my absolute favorite bear is this one, the Erdbeerbeer. One of the first things I noticed in Berlin was the whole city smells like strawberries. These little strawberry kiosks were everywhere. There were 3 within walking distance of my apartment, and you could go every morning and buy fresh strawberries. By the way, I loved this area. The Rathaus Steglitz area was all buildings and bridges and graffiti, but the place where I lived was tucked into a little residential forest.
So I am at Grunewaldstrasse, literally Green Forest Street. And look, it is so pretty.
My first day there, I messaged my mom and told her I was living in the secret garden. We lived in apartment number 13.
And I'm home, minus the door with the clown on it.
Kirsten was great. She was a single working mom who knew how to handle tools. She did her own plumbing. And she would give me little German lessons in the kitchen. So the best part of my trip to Berlin actually came back home with me. The 4 of us left from San Diego together, barely knowing each other, and now these 3 are like my favorite people in the world. We visited beautiful places together.
Oh, hello.
Hi!
We had intellectually stimulating conversations.
Plankton is telling SpongeBob to be more aggressive.
We had a few drinks.
It's like you only in Germany. Oh, I'd like a liter of beer in one sitting.
And we discovered all these new things together.
No, there's literally a shelf in the toilet, so like and water. We go to the shelf.
The trip was a lot of fun. I made new friends, I got to try new things, and overall this was just a great experience.